Hi everybody, we're looking at 3. This has several parts. There's 3A, B, C, and D. I think 3A is asking you to find the height of this right here, because if you're going to find the volume of this red prism, you need to be aware of what that value is. So let's talk about how do you get that value. Well, we know that this value right here is 3 1/4. So I want to point something out to you. That means that this is 3 1/4. This is 3 1/4. This is 3 1/4, and so is this. So the height throughout the entire thing is going to be 3 1/4. So let's write that number down so we have it. 3 1/4. All right, so for 3A, you're choosing that. All right, I think 3B, if I'm incorrect, forgive me, but one of them asks you to find the volume of the blue and the other one asks you to find the volume of the red. So let's look at the blue one. The blue one, we have all the dimensions that we need because the formula for volume of a rectangular prism is length times width times height. So let's turn everything into an improper fraction. I intended to use a blue marker there, so let me grab my blue marker. All right, volume equals, let's call this the length, let's call this the width, and let's call this the height. But when we put them in, let's write them in as improper fractions just to speed things up a bit. All right, so we have 9 1/2. So how many halves is that equal to? 2 times 9 is 18, and the one more makes 19, times, let's call this the width, something thirds. 3 times 2 is 6, plus the one more is 7. And here, the height here is something fourths. 4 times 3 is 12, and the one more makes 13. All right, and let's take out our trusty calculator. And let's multiply our values together. Let's see if I can make that smaller. There we go. All right, so we have 19 times 7 times 13, and we get that number. Write that number down as your numerator. Volume equals, our numerator is 1,729. All right, what's our denominator? We have to multiply this times this times this. Really, we should be able to do that in our head. 2 times 3 would be 6, and 6 times 4 would be 24. All right. Now, what you're going to do on your own is you're going to divide that out, do 1,729 divided by 24, and get the mixed number for that. All right, so let's move on to the red one. Let's move on to that. Let's move this out of the way. So the red one, volume equals length times width times height. Volume equals, we'll call this the length, 12. Let's write it as an improper fraction, 12 over 1. Let's call this the width, which is 2. Let's write that as 2 over 1. And then the height, we're using this number, which recall that we already knew that that's equal to 13 fourths. All right, so how about we, just to make the numbers more user-friendly, let's simplify here and here. You could go here and here, but if you can, whenever you have the opportunity to give a 1 as a denominator, I suggest you go for that. So let's do that. We're going to divide by 4 and get 1, divide by 4 and get 3. That way our numbers are a little more user-friendly. All right, and now let's put in this. We know that this times this is 6, so let's do 6 times this number, 13, and we get that number. And if we were to divide it by 1, we would get the same number, 78. So that's 78 cubic meters. 78 cubic meters. By the way, I should probably mention that this is cubic meters as well, but you're going to rename that as a mixed number. So the next step is to add your simplified version of this to this, and that will give you the volume of the entire figure.